Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to wherever you are in this ever-expanding now moment. Welcome to the Pleiadian Blu-ray Talk Show with your host, Shamanka, Natalie, Alaya.
Hello.
And myself, Bridget Rau. Today we're going to be interviewing Jodi St. Onge of Blue Angel Healing in Carver, Mass. Jodi is a phenomenal healer. She offers readings, Reiki. She's a Reiki master. She teaches many different classes. She's been in this work basically since she was a baby. And she's just been an awesome role model for me and for so many in the community. And I wanted to have her come back on as a sequel to the show that we had talked about before about theta healing and angels. And we're going to talk today about her communicating with angels class and give everybody a little bit of tips and techniques on how to recognize your communication from the angelic realms. So, hello, Jodi. How are you today?
Hello, Bridget. Hello, Natalie. Thank you again for having me on here. I love being a part of your show.
Thank you for coming on. So basically, do you want to let everybody know, like, a little, like, maybe background into how you started angel communication and what that entails?
Absolutely, Bridget. I would love to. I was actually having, I thought about this yesterday as I stepped outside, and I know for many of us who are connected, when we have those messages from Spirit, they come in as a specific frequency or vibration. For me, I am what they call, I'm trying to think of the word, I'm clear alliance, which means I'm clear in smelling. That's one of my gifts, is that I can smell Spirit, and it really allows me to, I can smell their vibration of energy as far as if they're male or female. I can smell seasons. I can smell, obviously, foods. I've been often told that I have a nose like a bloodhound, but I think it's because I can smell that vibration, and it comes in like a clairsentient feeling, but it's a vibration through my entire being. And as I was outside communing with Mother Earth and just connecting, because I have a lot going on, as many of us do this holiday season and any holiday season, I needed some time to just de-stress, ground my energy, and to connect. And I like to do that outside, and especially in the evening when it's very quiet. And I had gone out there, and I could smell the vibration of summer came in, and I heard from the angels that new changes were coming as of the summer of next year. And I could feel the joy in that, the emotion that came in, and I thought to myself, how does everybody else feel the angels or their connection to Spirit? And wouldn't it be cool to be able to have everybody learn how to connect and recognize their own frequency and vibrations, that this is the angels communicating? And many of us already experience the angels and are receiving angelic messages, but we don't realize that that's what those sensations are, and we might pass it off as a weird shiver or a rush, or, oh, I got really hot for no reason, oh, it must be a hot flash, and they pass it off and not necessarily paying attention to what were they thinking in their head, what were they receiving for information from their higher self. I also call that my little Jiminy Cricket, because our consciousness is talking to us, and we have to be able to discern between who is the angels that we're communicating with and which is ego as well. So there is a plethora of, I guess, of roads we could go down right now as far as angel communication and experiences, and when to know that you're communicating with angels and how to communicate with angels.
So yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think for the people who are listening who may not know the names of all the clairs, with could you give a little description of how people may pick up on stuff? Because some have like a stronger, like you said, you can smell clearly, but some people feel, or how would you describe that? Because I know there's different ways to tell what you have more of as a gift rather than another. That makes sense?
Yes, and I know that there are more clairs out there than what I know of, and I am always learning and as far as like researching online about different techniques, like psychic techniques and developments that one can do to enhance and increase their communication or connection to creator or our loved ones on the other side, or spirits or angels. So there's clairvoyance, which is probably the most commonly known psychic ability, which is clairseeing. And that can come through as psychic visions, as you could have, some people will see a movie being played. It can be in black and white or in color. Some people make it a flash or an image, like symbols, like they might see an apple, or they'd see a house, or maybe they see like a picture of their grandma or the person that they're connecting with as a flash, though, of an image. They also, clairvoyance is also, you can see with your eyes open, being able to tap into the pineal gland, which is, where behind the third eye chakra is actually the master gland, which is where we receive all information from creator. And I can get back to that and talk about the pineal gland and why we call it the third eye, because it is our vision to the creator. And when we are able to reach like a theta brainwave state, we're actually accessing the pineal gland to receive the divine information. So some of us are not as clairvoyant as others, where you can see things. You could see orbs or colors around people, like their aura. They might see orbs floating, little white specks or sparkles. That's also a part of clairvoyance. But there is also clairaudience, which is clear hearing. And it's not just hearing outside the body, because I do hear, sometimes I'll hear spirit communicate with me, and especially if they're very good at communicating to an audience person, and I'm open, I have to say, depending on what is going on with me. But I will hear them say my name, or you'll hear them communicate with you through externally. The common and most common clear audience is you'll hear it inside your head. For me, it sounds much like I'm listening to them communicate with me. Did you ever go into a pool of water and you sink down to the bottom and you're holding your breath, and then you have, let's say, your loved, like a sibling, yell at you underneath the water, and you hear the words coming through, but it's muffled? So that's clear audience as well, and you might hear it as a song in your head playing over and over again. Or maybe you can recognize a tone of voice, and it's in your head. So it's learning to discern as you develop your clairaudience. Are these my thoughts, or are these thoughts coming in from spirit? I always say, when you're talking to creator, and if the messages are coming in and they're faster than you can even think of an answer, that's when you know that is spirit or the angels communicating with you. A very common, and probably one of the most common that everybody carries, I find, is clairsentience, which is clear feeling. Many healers are very clairsentient. I know myself, I am. It gives us the ability to feel the energy vibration of where blocks are maybe in the body, but we also can feel emotion. And it's not just experiencing that emotion, but you can feel the emotions of others. And many people call us empaths. Oh, I'm empathic, I can feel that. So that is being clairsentient, where you're feeling vibrations. But I also expand on that. Like, you can actually feel words when you get very clairsentient. You can feel, like, the vibration of each thing you're receiving from is going to feel different. So as the vibration, the words are coming in, the vibration's going to shift. I always say I listen with my heart, because my heart opens and expands when I connect to the angels and to Creator. So I breathe it in and it opens my heart and I feel this vibrational rush. And then I'm hearing in conjunction to what I'm feeling, which is supporting that together. And then I may have a vision at the same time. Then there is the claircognizant, which is that's when you just know it and without a shadow of a doubt. You just know. I don't know why I know this. It could be the answers to questions that you had never learned. Whether it's you just know how to tap into your Akashic records and it's stored there, I look at that as you're a direct connect and the Creator is sending that info, and the easiest way for you to get it is through clear knowing, and it just pops in your head and you just know the answer. So that's the claircognizance. The clear alliance, which I was talking about earlier, that is the clear smelling. And I learned about clear smelling. I didn't know what it was. I actually thought that when you could smell and taste spirit like I do, like I can actually taste, I will smell, if I smell brownies, I will taste them at the same time. Perfume, I taste it. The incense, anything that spirit's bringing to me, I actually do smell it and taste it. And when I was communicating with Archangel Muriel, she had come in at the beginning of one of my angel communication courses that I offer at Blue Angel Healing, and she is an angel that enhances clairvoyance. And I went, oh, so that's what it is. And she's also an angel of harmony and peace, and her name means perfume of God. And I thought to myself, how appropriate is it that that's her name, because she's all about smelling things and smelling nice. So I really connected and resonated with Muriel as we were working on the class together, but she's the one who introduced me to clairvoyance, because without our connection, I never would have known. I would have thought it's just another facet of clairsentience, which is that clear feeling.
That is cool.
So
I have that smell thing too. I can smell things. But I have an idea that they're just finding out about, like, they know that humans can detect magnetic fields, and they just found the magnetic proteins. But I think there is, and I don't know what you would call it, clairmagnetism? I don't know.
Right? What would you call that?
I don't know, but I do think there's a psychic ability to sense. We must have something. We get information from the magnetic fields, or we can. But I don't know what it's called.
Feeling, would that be the feeling, like clairsentient, where you're feeling vibration? When I'm going through a house, or if I'm walking through old lands to communicate with the Native Americans in my area, I will put my hands out to feel the vibrations, like you're saying, of like the magnetic shifts. That's how I used to read, was just with my fingertips.
That's cool.
Not no.
I think like
that was when it started.
Like all the leylands and stuff, like the people who go to the pyramids or different sacred, they say, like, people who don't even do like this type of work on a consistent basis, like they have these like awakenings in those spots because it's just so amplified and powerful in those areas.
I think that the ancients really relied on their psychic abilities and their connections to the Creator, and they had mystics that they communicated with, and they had ancient priests and priestesses, and I believe that they honed in and knew how to work with their psychic ability. That people of the ancients, I mean, think about where. We'll even go into Giza, like when you're looking at all of the Egyptian pyramids, I mean, if you look at them from the sky, it's the belt of Orion.
Right. Like they knew so much more than we know.
And there's also a specific vibration that those areas had, that the ancients said, no, this is where it's going to be. Who knows where that information came from? Well, we kind of do, don't we? With the I was going to go on a whole thing. I was telling my daughters about the Anunnakis the other day, and I said, like to stop thinking about Darwin because, in a sense, like we were just messing around with the Neanderthals. So, can you imagine? This is dinner talk at my house.
That was good, though, because I think about people needing to teach their children, like, the right history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Darwin was great, and that's who Bigfoot is, but we're a little smarter. We're a lot smarter than that.
It makes no sense, like that, like all the other theories. Like that's why people keep looking for more information and answers, because nothing really makes sense anymore. Like the more we evolve, which, like with the internet and stuff, and we're able to share with each other, I feel like that's another form of like connection too for us. Like we're
learning, education. The internet is learning. It's a school in a way.
It is. Like, it totally woke me up, like, learning from other people. Like, I would have never been able to access all the information I've learned, 10 years ago.
It is. It's definitely, the internet definitely helped. There's a lot of great information out there, but there's also a bunch of not so great information out there.
Yeah, a bunch of bullshit, too, out there. Yeah, paper doesn't refuse ink, so people can write whatever. It doesn't always mean what they're saying is correct. So can someone have all of those? Do you think someone, like, it sounds like you have all of those? Claire?
I would say yes. I have been very blessed to have the clairs activated. If I don't know if there are others, like what they are, if I do have them or not. I just know that for myself, and I do feel this for everyone that I meet, especially for every healer that comes into my center to learn Reiki. Okay, when I have someone who comes in to learn Reiki, they're all clairsentient, but they might not be able to experience it and understand it and know that that's what clairsentient is. As a level 1 newbie coming in as green as could be, like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here, and talk to them after they've facilitated hands-on, and I do believe that people can develop their clairvoyance and activate all their senses through constant meditation and inner work, because we carry the limiting beliefs, as we talked before on the Theta show, when we were all talking about the limiting beliefs. I've had a lot cleared, so for me, my connection with spirit deepened because I've been working on myself constantly for 20 years. So, but I was very intuitive. I was a medium as a young girl. I was communicating with the angels as a young girl. I was 3 and 4 years old with my first visitations that I can actually remember. Most of them are very much on my, not in my long-term memory, but in my short term, because they're there, because their experiences were so powerful. Like, I call them a core memory for me, because I can recall them at will. And
it seems like there was a great forgetting. They said, like, last 10,000 years, we were way, 10,000 years ago, we were way more advanced, and there seems to have been a great forgetting over the last 10,000 years, and a forgetting of our psychic abilities.
I think it's what Jodi just said. We stopped working with it. Like, we focused on creating careers and making money in survival rather than going inside ourselves to expand our consciousness.
And so people don't understand. Like, I get that a lot, where people are like, well, I don't see anything, I don't hear anything, I don't, they think that we're mad, but like you said, I think they have it, but they just don't know that, like, okay, when you feel that tingle or when you have that experience, that's communication.
They also have fluoride in the water now, too, which messes with your pineal gland.
Yeah, that they actually talk about that. The fluoride is actually a blocker to the pineal gland, but it can be cleared. There is some kind of oil you can ingest. It's like snake something oil, and it really is like amazing, like what it does as far as for the clarity of the third eye. But I believe that meditation can actually help to increase that, and eating healthy, stepping away from sugar, lowering caffeine intake, really learning how to slow down and be now and just be connected, because we're so busy. That's a very big blocker of connecting to Creator. But I think also that we're also being awakened, and I do find that over the last 20 years, and I know, Natalie, I know that you've seen it, Bridget, you're a part of it, as well. Like 20 years ago, it was not as known, like psychics, and it was really just starting to get out there. I mean, when we think about, the metaphysical shops and when they started to kind of explode, like there's always been like channelings of the fifth dimension and like different things like that come out of the 70s, like for the age of Aquarius, going into the 80s. But then we were lost. I mean, think about it, the dark ages, there were very few of us. All we did was just focus on fear of God and not getting our head chopped off by
Yeah.
greedy. So we lived a very different lifestyle. I think that the modern age has brought a lot of security for us to step into that. But I also think, is this a part of our own evolution? When the Anunnakis came and they were having fun with the Neanderthals and we were being created, how smart were we at that moment? And, there are other amazing prophets out there that some people say, and I don't even know, I might be ruffling some feathers, that Noah is a hybrid because all the things that he could do.
Right, I think that
Moses could have been a hybrid or whatever, who knows. But the thing is that we look at what we did as Egyptians, but our civilizations, and then we crashed and during the Dark Ages, and things became very different and chaotic.
The world became flat.
It was no longer round. It was flat.
I love how we could make these big elaborate places, and then all of a sudden we're like, don't take the boat too far, you'll fall off. Like, what the fuck?
It's like crazy. I mean, it's just, I know, can you imagine? I don't want to go that far. It's the ends of the earth. So I think that we're evolving spiritually, and I think that the modern age has allowed us to step into that. But if you go into other countries, and Natalie, as you are aware, I mean, if you go into, there might not be as many psychic people in third world countries. Like they're not working on that, but they're all connected. I mean, I bet you that if you go into Africa, into a tribe in Africa, they might not call them psychic, but they feel things. They know things.
Oh yeah.
If you
have their own healing, and they may call it different words, but they would always have their medicine man or medicine woman, which would basically be the one that would be sensitive.
Right.
But yeah, there has been a lot of we basically brought the West but you have to go to school and learn numbers and ABCs. And maybe the native, the third world countries did it differently. Like they would allow people to develop.
Right.
I think they're more connected with nature and themselves. Like they're not. I think of the computer too as like we have this internet, which is like its own consciousness, and just like our own consciousness, there's pieces in there that don't make sense, and there's pieces that are true and false because we create our own things and our own fears and beliefs. But like these people over there, they're not they don't have access to that stuff as much as we do, so they're tapping into the collective consciousness that's always been, and they have more time to be connected and like appreciative. They're in gratitude. Like they're some of the happiest people because they don't know. Like for us, we look at them like, oh my God, how can they survive like that? They don't know anything different. And they're happy.
Right, exactly. But then there are other places, and this is where I think the awakening is starting to seep in the modern age. I mean, we have countries over in like the Middle East and stuff where it's very, it's unethical in their religion or to connect psychically, like it's not looked at in good light, and there's a lot of fear.
Yeah,
People aren't able.
I think that's more Muslim. Now, my family was Christian. My grandmother read the tea leaves for all the neighbors.
Yeah.
And her mother did the tarot. So
Yeah.
they are Christian. I do think you're right. Like, it's probably more of a Muslim. But I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble saying that either. But because I'm not Muslim, so I don't know. But yeah, I know in Saudi that they're going to say no to anything, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. So I think that they might not have access to do as far as finding that connection. But I wonder, like, how are they experiencing these energetic downloads, which you know that they're receiving? Because when I'm doing my spiritual work, I do a lot of work over there astrally. Like, I leave my body and I'm doing work while I'm sleeping, and I'm always going to third world countries, and I'm going to, I've been over in the Iraq area and, trying to help. I don't even know what I'm doing over there. I just know that I'm over there because I go, why am I here? Okay, so I guess I'm here. So,
well,
and
they have a lot of, I know in Lebanon too, it's weird. Like I showed you that Hand of Fatima necklace that I got. They would have their trinkets of like, and you would hear, my cousins were like, oh, she got the evil eye. Like they have certain, I don't want to say habits or ritual, so they would be very superstitious.
right. And they are, but as we step into, I think, the modern age, where we are able to, I mean, and I, I love all religion as a way of connection to Creator, regardless of faith, and I know that that's why they're there. And there's always rules that we don't like. I think for people like you and I, on all sides, that we don't want to do this, we want to do that. As far as when you want to be connected to Creator. I'm very spiritual. I was raised Catholic. My grandmother also read tea leaves, but she also prayed to the Virgin Mary for forgiveness every day.
My grandmother was big into the Virgin Mary. Prayed
and I'm very big to her, and I pray to her, but not in the same fashion. I'm not begging for her forgiveness and praying, and like I'm praying in my own way, and I really love that, like the freedom of being connected that way. And I can also pull in and connect to this person. I can connect to that person.
I'll tell you about Ireland. Ireland has so many psychics and shamans. Ireland has the most shamans of any European country for its size. For 4 million people, we have like so many shamans. In my small town that I live in, it's 20,000 people. I know about like 20 psychics. People, oh, have you gone to this one? Oh, have you gone to that one? And readers. Just
That's amazing.
Little town. Yeah. It's because the place is so spiritual. You just like it makes you tune in.
Yeah. And that was like my grandmother. She read tea leaves. My grandmother Nanny, and she was from Ireland, and she left Ireland when she was about 18 years old and went to England, and there she met and connected to my grandfather, and then they stayed there during World War II and stuff, and then came over after the war to the United States. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of things that went on, in between that process, but that's where all that comes from, because my dad used to say, oh, Jodi, we come from a long line of witches. And I was like,
it's
okay,
very
Dad.
strong here. It is really strong, like every town, and it's great too, because like I'll hear stories and someone's like, oh, you should go down and see this witch in Cork, or there's a white witch in Cork. I mean, people talk about it, and they like to go and see it. So it's very common here. It's amazing. I love living here because of that.
I want to come visit. That would be great.
Yeah, you have to come. You have to come and see your homeland. You'd go nuts. You'd love it.
Oh, I know. I'm going across the pond soon. I know I am. I can feel it in my bones.
Oh, good.
But getting back to angel communication and stuff, I know we've digressed a little bit into other topics.
Yeah, so you want to tell us a little bit about like how the angel, like maybe the different vibrations of different angels, or how some of them communicate to us, like the ways that they communicate to us through signs and synchronicity and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, the angels, they will usually take the least path of resistance all of the time. So, for what I teach in my classes and just even in regular conversation like I'm doing here with you guys, angels can come through in many ways. If you're not very clairsentient, like you don't feel a lot. I mean, they're not going to come and start giving you, information and feelings if you're not going to be able to recognize them. So they're going to choose methods that are going to grab your attention. So numbers are one way that the angels communicate, and it's the repetitiveness of numbers. Dorian Virtue wrote a book, Angel Numbers. It's very good. I love that. I love her descriptions of the numbers and what they represent. And we look to numbers and numerology and have been for eons as far as a culture is concerned. So like 444 is the angels are watching over you. That is the number of the angels. So whenever you see 444, know that you're being protected and that they're around you. Numbers like 333, those are the ascended masters. And there, 777 is like the angels applauding you. What I saw this actually over the last 2 days, I have seen nothing but 444 and 888. Even today, while driving to where I needed to be, I was traveling and I was talking to Bridget. All of a sudden, a car pulled in front of me, and the license plate said 444 on it. And yesterday, it was another license plate, and it said A. 444. And I was like, hi, and those to me are the angels are saying hi. I mean, it couldn't be any more perfect than that. And then I saw 88, and I saw just 88 on a license plate. The last two numbers was 88, and then a car pulled right in front of me next to this other car that says the license plate says 88, and then on the back of this car, on the van, was a giant 8. And I was like, really?
That's because you need to get the triple infinity abundance right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's because you're getting the right that Bridget came up with, recently received.
I was supposed to have received that, actually. I was supposed to get that on Monday, but I wasn't feeling good.
I know, she got mad at me. She's like, don't tell me!
I don't want to know what I'm missing out on.
I know, but you're going to get it.
I know. It'll be okay. It'll be perfect. So it'll be my own perfect little infinity activation. So
you get it one-on-one. You get extra abundance.
So the angels can communicate through numbers. They also like to communicate with us through reoccurring signs or messages, like songs that are going on. The radio, you could turn on a song, and the words that are being sung in the song are going to be a message, especially if they're repeated several times. If you hear the same song 3 times in a row, or I've done this before, and I know it's a message. I go and I turn on the radio, and I hear a song, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I switch, radio station, and the same song is being played.
That happens to me a lot too.
So I look at that as like, okay, I need to listen, and especially at the second one, I usually listen now. Before it'd be the third time. You could see. Words are almost, I feel like, are illuminated for you that are popping out. So it could be names. Sometimes I see the same name over and over again. It could be, you're thinking of this person, but you'll see the name of that person on a street sign. And then all of a sudden you come up to the store, and the store is named that person. Things like that. That's the angels, where those words are illuminated, or mailboxes with numbers on them, be all of a sudden, you drive down the street every single day, and all of a sudden you turn over and you look to the left and you're like, oh, 44. Like, like I never noticed that was number 44 before. Well, there's a reason why you didn't notice it before, and now you do. So it's learning to recognize the too, that the angels are communicating with you. You can smell the angels. They come in as perfume, or an incense smell. You could have them, especially when they're coming in and it's repetitive, you could ask, okay, what am I smelling? Write something down in a journal, then ask out loud or to yourself, okay, with whom am I speaking with? And the first name you hear, and it might be in your head, it's not going to be like spoken to you like, hi, my name is Jodi. I'm sorry to be disappointing people, but it's not usually that abrupt. You might, like, release in a way that you don't want to release. So if that all of a sudden happens, you're not crazy. Spirit, the angels are communicating with you. So you'll hear it in your head, much like, oh, it's Michael. For me, when I was really anchoring in my, communicating with Archangel Michael, and I'm going to talk about him, I'm just going to mention right now that a giant Cooper hawk just flew right in front of me and landed on a branch, and I'm looking right at him right now. That's a message from Spirit right there.
Yep, that is definitely a message from Spirit. Hawks carry messages from
Hello,
Spirit.
Spirit. Thank you.
Talking about you, aren't we? For me, when I began really communicating with Michael, Michael has been my number one guide for a long time. And I remember at night, and this is simple exercises that any one of us can do, especially to increase clairsentience, which is that clear feeling. So what you can do is you can, I used to do this with sitting in the love seat next to my husband while he was watching whatever he wanted to watch, because I really don't like television, so I would let him, oh, whatever, I don't care what you watch, and I would actually meditate and communicate with the spirits or with the angels. So while I was communicating with Archangel Michael during those times, I would say, okay, Archangel Michael, are you here? If you are here for a yes, I want to feel the vibration of yes. And he's actually giving me the vibration of yes right now, which is really funny. So I receive this energetic wave that rises up through my body. I feel like it's a whoosh, and I feel my body kind of fall forward or move forward, but it rushes up, and I tend to go into theta. So I'm like, yes, as it's moving up, and yes, and forward. If it's a no, I feel my body move back slowly, and I feel the energy come down and out through the back. So it's just a very slight, subtle shift in the energy flow, and I did this for 2 years every night or whenever I wanted to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wow.
During that process, I would ask questions. I am Jodi St. Onge. And I would hear a yes. And I would always call on him first. I would always state my intention. This is, a learning experience with Archangel Michael. I'm asking that I receive messages from him to determine yes and no. So, because you're not going to hear a message from Spirit that's going to say, Jodi, blah, 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 if you've never done that before. So I always say, I need to hear a yes, I need to hear a no, and what does yes feel like? What does no feel like? I am Jodi St. Onge, yes. I am 5 years old, no. I would say, I am married, yes. So I would ask questions that I knew were correct, and I would ask Michael to answer them in a vibration. And that's how I started recognizing yeses and nos. And then I would expand on that over the course of 2 years. Okay, Michael, now whom am I speaking with? Archangel Michael, is this you? I would hear a yes. And so he is my go-to guy So I'm always asking him, I'm always asking him for help in that department. So he's like the person I ask, okay, can you go get so-and-so's grandmother for me? And he'll go, yes, okay. And I'll use him as like a filter to communicate with loved ones.
I find
So
a lot of people connect with Archangel Michael. Like even myself, I didn't go to church. I never had any knowledge of anybody, but even as a kid, I would call on Archangel Michael for protection. So I feel like he's like the go-to guy for a lot of people.
He is. He is. He's the most recognized of all of the angels within the angelic hierarchy.
Yeah, he's the head honcho. But I also, through the angel communication class with you, I connected with Metatron, and I really liked him.
My favorite is Metatron.
Yeah, and I think that's like, he connects good with like the star seeds or something. Like he has that. We had discussed this before too, like because the starseed community may be like, oh, it's an angel, like I'm not into that, but I feel like the angels are like beings from other places. Like back in the history when they were writing about angels depicting these beings with wings, it's like the same thing with the disc with wings. Like they put wings on it to symbolize that they fly. I feel like they are just beings from other places that we gave the name angels, and now we're just calling them star beings. Like I think they're kind of one and the same. That there's other, there's more than just angels out there. There is, but they do exist. Because I think when people start becoming into the starseed information, they dismiss angels, but angels are there.
Yes, they are.
I have a question. Was Metatron a man and then became an angel? Is that the story about Metatron?
There is a lot of controversy regarding Metatron's and how he came to be. In the stories in the research I have done, and from communicating with him, that he was once known as the scribe Enoch, and he was taken up to God. Which is going to be funny. There was a beam of light, and a ship appeared. And he beamed up into God. I'm just saying, this is a story. I'm serious. And he floated up in this beam of light to heaven, where he communicated with the Creator of all. Isn't that funny? Okay, the Creator of us. And he was told the Word of God, and there he wrote down the Word of God. And then he was sent back down to earth, and he lived, they said, for like 300 and some odd years, teaching the Word of God. And his gift was that he was transformed into Archangel Metatron, who is the heavenly scribe. And he is the only angel in all of heaven who is allowed to sit next to God.
Yes.
And he is always seen with the book of life, or the book of knowledge is always seen with him, the book of life. And his brother is Sandalphon, and Sandalphon is said to be the prophet, Elijah. And he was transformed into Sandalphon. And part of the book of life, or AKA the tree of life, that in Metatron's cube, there is a node in Metatron's cube that represents Sandalphon. So I feel that the reason why they're twins is because they both were human. They both were prophets, and they wrote the Word of God, and they tried to share that. And they were both gifted that kind of gift. And they both look relatively close, too, in the angelic realm as far as a vibrational energy comes in, because Metatron comes in with lots of violet energy, blues, greens, and magenta. And it's going to, for me, when I see it, it's the vibration of energy. It's like an explosion of color. I love that, explosion of color. You're talking when you have great descriptive words come in. Sandalphon comes in like a rainbow of light, and he is definitely more reds and oranges and yellows, and there's golden light with him, but he also has greens and violet as well. But his is definitely more like the reddish color and gold, where Metatron has the violet and the blues with the green. So they each have prominently different vibrational colors, but it's almost like together they're the rainbow.
Yeah,
That's how
I remember them coming in together. And I was kind of confused, like I didn't know who was there at first, but then throughout the class, it ended up getting more of a understanding and being able to sense the different vibrations of the different angels, which I think is good for anybody because you never know who you're talking to. Like, and I think some of the protection, like you want to tell people about maybe protecting themselves if they are trying to communicate with angels.
Absolutely, yes. It's very important that you do set your intention and a protection when communicating with the angels because you want to make sure that you're bringing in the highest vibrational energy, especially in the beginning, because we're so eager in the beginning. We just want to connect. We're not really paying attention. Is this really who I'm talking to? And that's where working with a pendulum or writing things down and working straight with like Archangel Michael, we'll say, like calling on Michael. Archangel Michael is the go-to guy for protection anyways. So I always tell people when you're starting to communicate, build your connection first with Archangel Michael to develop that rapport for protection and then expand from there. But when you always want to ask Creator, Mother Earth, ground down to Mother Earth. And I always tell my students to ground all the way down through the crust to the center of the earth where the large healing crystal is. Connect that way, and then call on the highest of the high, the purest of the pure, angelic guides that you can communicate with. And literally, specifically saying the highest of the high, the purest of the pure. I call on protection from the Archangel Michael. I affirm, Archangel Michael, that you are here now, protecting me from psychic attack and psychic debris, that you are shielding me from negative energies and negative debris, that you are surrounding me in your protective light, and that you will allow for only the highest vibrational energies to come through to communicate with me now. And so it is. Or as above, so below, or say amen. But when you're setting intention for protection, you want to make sure that you're not wishy-washy, that you are clear-headed, that you are centered. If you are angry, or if you are under the influence of alcohol, or you're distracted or anxious, all of those factors are going to prevent you from anchoring in the best possible protection for yourself. So you want to make sure you're in a good place and really try to center yourself. I always recommend light a white candle. That as you light this white candle, state the intention that only white light and white highest vibrational energies can filter into me and to communicate with me. And any prayer is going to be beneficial regardless of faith. Or suggestion. The one thing that I always recommend is that if you have a prayer to the God creator, like in the Catholic religion, for people who are Christian or Catholic, I would tell them, you know what's a powerful prayer? Is the Our Father. So that is a very powerful prayer. Everyone says it at church. So when you're saying the Our Father, you're saying, you're calling in that high vibration. But if you're not Catholic, that's not going to resonate with you. So, and there are more than 1 million angels out there, and they connect with all of us regardless of faith. So it's really about how we want to connect to them. So if there isn't a prayer that you feel connected to, whether you're calling on Allah, whether you're calling on Abraham, whether you're calling on Jesus, whether you're calling on God, Creator, Mother Goddess, Galactic God, universe, it's really whatever you connect with that resonates the highest vibrational light for you, and then ask for protection from that vibration, and know it and feel it and trust it that you're receiving that information, and then you will be protected. Does that
right
help?
I feel like with myself, like I go back and forth on the protection because like sometimes I just don't even think about it, and I'm just like, "Burp," and then like I also have the intention, like I've started giving myself the intention to just always be protected.
Yeah.
Rather, because I do forget sometimes, and I'm like, oh yeah, all of a sudden. But I do think it's a good practice to get into for people who are not doing this work regularly, or they don't have that, because some people are scared. I think if you go into it scared or like nervous about something, then you're gonna create that. Like for me, I'm never like, I feel like invincible. I'm like that stupid kid that's like, no, I'll be fine, and jump off the bridge. But
Right.
I kind of like being like that because I don't freak myself out about stupid shit. But I do find it's important, and there has been times when I get energetically like kicked my ass because I didn't do something properly with like opening sacred space, or just giving too much of myself away.
Right.
I wanted to ask you too, because I've had connected with feathers as messages from angels.
Yes.
And anytime I see a feather, I'm just like, thank you. And it seems like I'm like what you said before too, that when I see a feather, the thought that I had right before I see it, I know it's the answer.
Yes, agreed. I also love the when we receive the feathers, that they are, messages from, they're messages from the divine for sure. I believe in that as well. The more you recognize them too, the more you'll find.
And that is kind of some of the thing that it makes you stop, and because sometimes we have this stream of consciousness in our head of thoughts and stuff going on. And when you see the feather, to focus on, okay, so I was just thinking about work or home or my partner or my kid or someone who passed. But sometimes it's a message from an angel, but it's not about someone who passed. Maybe it's about, a job. Will I get the job? And then you see the feather. So that's why it gets you to like remember, because a lot of times we have that stream of consciousness, and we're having, I don't know how many thoughts a day. 20,000, 40, 50,000 thoughts. I don't know. So
I know, and I've heard that some of the, like, I've looked into the colors and the meanings behind the different colors. Like, I thought it was really cool. I found a perfectly split in the middle, half black, half white feather, and I was like, "Ooh, what's that mean?" But do you jive with that, Jodi? Do you think that the different, about the different like textures and colors too? Like the downy feathers represent something.
Right, right. Because I teach in a nature course, like my earth medicine course, about feather medicine, and that the soft, downy feathers that you find are about the insulation, the protection that's needed, that you're being protected, that everything's okay, but to work on building protection. If you find a wing feather, that's about your direction and learning to go with the flow, because that's what the wings do in a bird. It's about flowing. I might lose you. I'm very low on battery, you guys, so if all of a sudden I disappear, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Okay, yeah, we're getting close to the end of the hour anyway. So do you want to finish what you're saying, and then let everybody know how they can find you?
Sure. So, and the other feather is, like, I would look at a wing feather is it's going with the flow with things. And if you find a tail feather, because the tails are like the rudder and they help steer in a direction. So they're steering you in a specific direction. I do look at color as meaning. If you have like a cardinal feather, I get a lot of cardinal feathers. Look up the totems of the feathers that.
I think we lost her.
yeah, I think. What do you know the stuff for Jodi? Can you give all the information about our classes and everything for everybody?
Yes, Jodi St. Onge is located in Carver, Massachusetts at Blue Angel Healing. It's 145 South Main Street. We have a Reiki clinic there every week where we facilitate from 12 to 2. People have an option to come in, and it's only $10 for that half-hour session. So we like to do that to give back to the community. We also have one the first Thursday night of every month from 6 to 8 for those who want to come in and receive and try out Reiki or anything like that. You can find Jodi on Blue Angel Healing on Facebook. And she has, all the upcoming events listed on there for now. And I know she is planning on doing another angel communication class soon. And as she's speaking about the nature class is also going to be coming up, like an earth medicine class. We do have some other big events coming up for the next weeks. So if you wanted to take a look at her Blue Angel page on Facebook, we also blueangelhealing.wix.com /blue, but that the link to the website is on Facebook as well. And Jodi's available for readings. She's a medium, intuitive. She's an awesome facilitator of theta healing, clearing out limiting beliefs. She facilitates Reiki, new paradigm, basically anything you can think of she offers, and she is available for long distance. I had a soul retrieval done with her, which I was able to see my origins all the way back into the star of Alcyon. Like my combusted stuff came from the Alcyon star. We're all made of stardust. So I was actually I went way back to the very beginning.
Beautiful.
And I do recommend anybody who wants to have a soul regression, contact Jodi St. Onge. She's on Facebook as Jodi St. Onge also. And Natalie, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you?
Yep, you can find me at alayahealingservices.com. I have a Facebook page, Starseed Shaman, and it's the same name on Google Plus, and a YouTube channel. And I'm Twitter at Alaya Healing, and you can contact me for healing, shamanic, Muniki, readings, astrology. I'm doing a lot of astrology these days, so I do starseed markings in the charts, and I do a mini report or a full report. You can look it up on my website. I'd love to do it. I'm absolutely fascinated by people's charts.
I didn't know you were doing the starseed markings. I had a report from Lavendar a long time ago. I still have the she sends an MP3 of a confirmation, like a reading. And I didn't know you did that, so that's really cool. Because I was I waited 3 weeks to get that. I was really I need to have that.
You'll have to give me your details, and I'll look at your chart.
Yeah, I'd like to see
do an interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how because there was I had Mark of the Healer, I had I had Marks of Atlantis, all different stuff. So I think that's really cool. And for people out there, the Pleiadian lineup is why I started doing my research into the starseed markings. We have a lineup every November and every May from the 15th to the 20th where we have they say that there's they do more, what do you call them, they do experiments, or they have things that they're doing at that time, they're more interactive with Earth. And when I had read that, I was like, oh my God, because I was born on May 18th and my twin flame was born November 15th. So
wow.
I thought that was another big confirmation, when I was trying to figure out if I was actually, in the beginning when you're like, does this make sense?
Am I? Who am I?
So I would totally get one of those readings from Natalie, because they do give you that confirmation you need.
And tell us where people can find you, Bridget.
Okay. I'm crazy. You can find me at Blue Angel Healing with Jodi St. Onge. I'm her assistant. I offer Reiki, New Paradigm, Muneki, and readings at her studio. And I also work for Darnell at Shanti Shala in Plimpton, Mass. I travel around the area. I'm going to be going to the sanctuary to do an intensive weekend of the Muneki in February. And the second and fourth Thursday of the month, I go to Mashpee to do meditations as well. So tonight, I'm doing the Lyran Triple Infinity meditation at Shanti Shala in Plimpton. So if anybody's in the area and they want to come out, it's $22. And it's actually a rite that's going to be facilitated into the different power center, heart center, and third eye. I'm on Facebook as Bridget Rau. I have Divine Essentials, New Paradigm Healing, and I'm also part of the Pleiadian Express Productions team. We have the Blu-ray show page, and Pleiadians Northeast I'm an admin for. And I think that's it.
And just to give again a shout out to Larry Locken, Pleiadian Express Productions. If you like what you're hearing with us, donate to Pleiadian Express Productions. We'll put the website up, $1, $2 to $5. It helps to keep us going and to get equipment and stuff like that to keep these chats going, and it's much appreciated, Starseeds.
Yep. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, and we will talk to you again. What is next week? We are doing, let me just look.
What is, yeah, is it the 23rd next week? Are we going to do it the Christmas thing? Are we going to do the meditation on the 1111 gateway?
Yeah, you want to do that instead? You want to just have our shogi for the Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was thinking it's going to be 11, it's going to be like 7 o'clock in the morning. Is that right? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It's going to be 6 o'clock in the morning for you, Bridget.
Oh,
yeah.
Ew.
We'll talk about it later because it doesn't actually have to be at 11:11, but it can be for that.
Right. Okay. So
11:11 here is 6 in the morning. 6:11 for you. It's way too early.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and have a great night. We're going to decide, and then we'll be posting when the next show is.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.